You can't put it on autopilot. You just can't. Your faith can't be an autopilot. You can't sit back, make your decision to follow Jesus, and soar past all your problems and be guided effortlessly to spiritual maturity. All right, so a final sermon. We had so many different titles. It was a new church. It was an authentic church. It was a prepared church, I think is what it was. These different kinds of phrases helped us understand the depth of the understanding of what kind of churches that we were dealing with. And as we were looking at this people group, today's title of the message is an all-in church. They were an all-in kind of people. And when you really look at the depth of their quality, if you will, of their followership of Jesus Christ, you would say they were all in. And we discovered that time and time again. When we were talking about the Greek gods and they were coming out of all those Greek gods and they were leaving their religions behind to go ahead and embrace Christianity, and they're living in the Mount Olympus shadow of these great gods that they once served, and now they're serving one true God, and now their whole lives are completely revolutionized. They've lost jobs, they've lost family members where they have been excommunicated because they believe in Jesus. An all-in kind of people. What kind of church are we? Paul started this church, and then in a very short time, they grew in their faith. And we see in chapter 1, verse 7, and so you became a model to all believers in Macedonia and Achaia. Your faith in God has become known everywhere. Therefore, I do not need to say anything. Go look at a picture of what he's talking about, because he's saying Macedonia and Achaia. Look at, that is all of Greece. You know, you could have just said all of Greece, but of course, this is looking at the context of that time. You're saying there's huge swaths. As a matter of fact, that actually totals up to about 50,000 square miles. 50,000 square miles, and people are talking about you. Everybody is talking about you in the Christian circles. Your faith is inspiring them. You became a model of what it looks like to be a Christian. Wow. I want to be that. Turn to your neighbor and say, I want to be that. I want to be that. Just turn your head and say, it's just really easy. Okay, anyway. Basically all of Greece. And what kind of church could do such a thing? How can a church in one city affect 50,000 square miles that are all around him? What were they doing? What is the things that as we're wrapping up, this is the last thing, what is it that we're walking away with that really is inspiring to us? And what's really befitting this church is calling it an all-in church. And I want to be an all-in church. I look at the inspiration of the Thessalonica people and I say, I want to be an all-in church. I want to be an all-in follower of Jesus Christ. There's no half measures to serving Christ. There really is not. You can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, as you've heard it time and time again. You can't have your Christianity be summed up in just your church attendance record. There has to be something that has changed inside you in your life. It is life-forming, life-changing, revolutionizing all in when it comes to serving Jesus Christ. This church was not known because they built a new building. It wasn't known because they had a great worship team. It wasn't known because they had great speakers. It wasn't known all over because of their famous people that attended their church. They were known because they became a model because of the way they modeled their lives after Jesus Christ. They were an all-in church with an all-in faith. And the question that really is that we have to respond to today is, are we an all-in church with an all-in faith on Jesus Christ? Are you all in your faith in Jesus Christ this morning? For those in the room that are joining, or those who are joining us online this morning, and you haven't made a commitment to follow Jesus, I want to tell you a few things, because there is something to really know about Christianity more than it being something that's a part of the ideological mixes in our society. It's not like I'm going to choose Christianity because I actually closely associate my belief structure around Christianity, so that's why I choose Christianity. And I would say, listen, I got to share something with you before you take a step in the foray of understanding and knowing Jesus Christ and following Jesus Christ. You can't put it on autopilot. You just can't. Your faith can't be an autopilot faith. You can't sit back, make your decision to follow Jesus, and soar past all your problems and be guided effortlessly to spiritual maturity. It just doesn't exist in Christianity. I think there is a great number of people today who would find themselves as a people who have put it in autopilot. I just come in, yeah, I'm a Christian, yeah, I believe in all that, yada, yada, yada. But there's just no life change, no transformation, no ongoing work of the Holy Spirit that is reforming my thoughts and my mind and my spirit, and I'm getting closer. There's none of that. It's just me putting in an autopilot. And I want to share with you, if you haven't made the step into the faith, it is not an autopilot kind of faith. You can find faiths that can be autopilot faiths. I just can simply adhere to the instruction of that faith, and now I just put in autopilot. It's not Christianity. It is not a faith where you have 3 or 4 religious duties that you have to do, and then therefore you're stuck in it and you're good to go in your faith. It's just not about religious duties. It's not about following a few scriptures. It's not about watching your faith kind of fly by itself. It is an understanding that it is an all-encompassing work, and Christianity requires hard work, and I can talk more about this hard work today. You would say, man, that sounds more depressing than it sounds interesting. You're telling me, as a person that hasn't actually made my step into faith, you're actually helping convince me to walk out the door. But before I do, I must grab that 100% non-fat desserts in the room next to me. On that cafe. There's a secret cafe door, by the way. You can slip out without talking to those crazy Christians. You grab your stuff to go, you dart out the door, you get to the car and get out of here as fast as you can, because that faith you're talking about is not what I'm signing up for. Jesus made no secret at the level of commitment it takes for believers to follow after him, or for people to become believers and to follow after him. Faith in Jesus is not compartmentalization of just saying, I have a life and then here's these compartments, and faith is a compartment. People who compartmentalize their faith can act just like the world in different circumstances, because that compartment is not right now. I have my other compartment. It's my work compartment. And there, I act like whatever I act like. And then Christian, I act like when I'm a Christian. I compartmentalize. You can't do that. It's not what it's about. We go and do our job and come home. No. It's an all-encompassing faith. It affects every decision. It affects our thought life. It affects our beliefs. It affects how we treat others. It affects what we say. It affects what we do. It affects everything. It is literally intrusive to every area of my life, not a compartment that is added to my life. There's no rights and privileges inside. There's no constitution inside Christianity. There's a Sermon on the Mount. And when we look at it, this is challenging to have a faith like this. Faith in Jesus is an all-encompassing faith. It is an all-in kind of faith where nothing is more important in our lives than Jesus.